Bitcoin breaking up around 25% in the last couple of weeks or so. Cardano up around 50%. Is something special getting ready to happen? What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you for cruising by. Hit that subscribe and like on the way in. Let's jump into the video. Let me move this chart up a little bit. So here's Bitcoin. It's doing its thing. It's broken out of a triangle that you see on the screen. I want to talk about that. It's up. You can see from the lower end of that triangle around 25% or so. And it's currently putting in a new daily candle. I mean, just opened 46 minutes ago. And you can see right now is a bit of resistance right below the 200 moving average, that green line. If we see how this translates onto the weekly chart, this is what I want to talk about in this video in regards to Bitcoin. And so let's just jump in and let's start talking about it. Everybody, you know this is not financial advice. This is the data. I'm on the journey. I'm on the crypto journey with y'all. And I'm just tracking. I'm wondering always what is going to happen next so we can anticipate everything. We track it. And that is how you prepare, and that is how you succeed in crypto, in my opinion. So here's Bitcoin on the weekly chart. This is what's interesting. 20-week moving average cross below the 50-week moving average, that blue line, the green crossing below the blue line. So first things first, it is extremely good to see this weekly close above both moving averages. These are huge weekly moving averages. And what I want to talk about, and it's going to be huge to see what happens this week with this current weekly candle. It just opened, and you can see a bit of resistance in this wick right here. But the thing I want to do is I want to actually zoom out on this Bitcoin chart, and I just want to show you something because I noticed this. So yes, we've had the 20-week moving average cross below the 50-week moving average. It could really be a bearish signal, right? A lot of people would take that as a bearish signal, especially if Bitcoin is seeing resistance at those moving averages on the way down, meaning kind of it gets across and then Bitcoin's coming up and then sees resistance right there and continues down. So the thing that's kind of in our corner right now in regards to Bitcoin on this chart is the fact that currently, as I do the video, Bitcoin is above those moving averages. Now, let me zoom out again. Let me show you what I was noticing on this chart. I was going back and I was looking the last couple times Bitcoin has fallen the 20-week moving average below the 50-week moving average. Right there, this is back in, December 2019. Right here, this was kind of the middle of the last bear market in 2018, July 2018. You can see the 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average right there. And what I noticed, and actually, we can take it a step further, and let's actually go all the way back to the previous time. Let's go all the way back to here. This is August 2014, 20-week moving average crossing below the 50-week moving average. Now, what I've noticed is every time after this happens, this 20-week moving average cross below the 50-week moving average, every time Bitcoin finally closes a weekly candle above both moving averages, every time that happens, Bitcoin sees upward momentum. So here it is happening back in October 2015. Going further on the charts, we can go, so after this 20-week moving average cross below the 50-week moving average, here's Bitcoin closing above both moving averages, right? That was the beginning of the turnaround out of the bear market low, obviously. And then we had COVID, right? So even after the COVID swing low in March 2020, sorry about that, you can see Bitcoin, once it closed these weekly candles right here above both weekly moving averages, Bitcoin was kind of off to the races. So this is going back all the way to 2014 data. So it's very interesting to me as we put in this new weekly candle after closing a weekly candle above both moving averages. I think, and we can say every week Bitcoin is in a crucial weekly candle, but I really think this is a really crucial weekly candle. We want to see Bitcoin close above both moving averages and kind of continue in that consistency of that data and how Bitcoin performs when we're getting these closes above these moving averages after a 20-week moving average cross below the 50-week. The difference here is this is very, very quick, right? So like this 20-week moving average cross below the 50 just happened mid-March. So this would be a very quick turnaround, which is great. It'll take a little bit of time for the 20-week to get pulled back up above the 50-week, but I digress from that. This is an important week for Bitcoin. Going to the daily chart. This could be a volatile week for Bitcoin. I mean, the target to the upside is right in the $59,000, $60,000 vicinity for Bitcoin out of the symmetrical triangle. And we've gotten the breakout in the last 2 to 3 days or so. And you can just see right now it's seeing this initial resistance at the 200-day moving average. When we're tracking these breakouts out of triangles and upper trend lines or even lower trend lines, we wait for, if it's to the downside, we wait for a pullback to the trend line, and if it's to the upside, we wait for a throwback to the trend line. Considering the 200-week moving or the 200-day moving average is right now just above where Bitcoin is seeing this wick of resistance, and this is less than an hour old of data, there could be a throwback, even in the very short term, since Bitcoin is seeing this resistance to this upper trend line, and just that's something I want to anticipate is a throwback, and to see if there's support at the upper trend line for maybe a conservative bullish confirmation if we get the bounce off of that area. That could be really bullish for Bitcoin. Stepping outside of that, obviously, if Bitcoin breaks the 200-day moving average, that's extremely bullish as well. So that's kind of what I'm watching for. We have the 20-day moving average crossing above the 50-day down here. Extremely good to see that. Essentially, there is support all the way down to those moving averages. When we have these moves, and I talked a lot about this recently in regards to Cardano, we're starting to get these upward momentum of these moving averages. Usually there's consolidation to those areas before continuing to the upside. It's putting in higher lows. It's part of the story. And along that way, along that path, there's volatility. To the downside, that could be a 10% move for Bitcoin. To the downside, people could very quickly turn bearish on Bitcoin just because it's testing key support areas. And then if we finally just take a Fibonacci retracement and put in another area of support to watch out for, from the swing low, lower trend line to the current swing high resistance, check out how confluent the 618 at the $41,500 area is with these moving averages, the 20, the 50-day moving averages. And then we also have the 786 down here at 39,600. So Bitcoin could very much revisit that entire area before continuing to the upside. We're always looking for higher lows in breakouts. So keep an eye on that. But right now, I'd really be waiting to see if, sorry about my text here, if Bitcoin can initially just break through this 200-day moving average resistance and at least get some more separation from the lower trend line on its way to the $59,000, $60,000 target. So let's pivot over to Cardano. This is Cardano on the weekly. We talked about this in yesterday. I think it was yesterday's Cardano update. The 20-week moving average. Cardano on this weekly chart, not above the 20-week moving average. Cardano not above the 50-week moving average. Obviously, that's even higher up here around $1.58. Now, we talked about resistance at this area. Now that Cardano is pulled all the way back to that area, and it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens this week for Cardano. So not only is it a crucial week for Bitcoin, it's also a crucial week for Cardano because of this 20-week moving average resistance that is at right now at this very moment in this brand new weekly candle. We've talked about this before. In these downtrends, these long-term ugly downtrends, there's just these lower high resistance areas right in that 20-week moving average area before getting the final breakthrough up and above. So this is the concern on Cardano, that Cardano is going to see resistance there. The concern, if you go over here to the daily chart, is this is going to be another long-term lower high for Cardano. We've seen a lot of bullish divergence on these charts, so that's good. That's why we're keeping an eye on this. But right now, if we're looking at Cardano, it still has some work to do to the upside to really like shift this bearish momentum around, because it's been a lot of bearish momentum. It's going to take some work for Cardano to shift it around. So as we were just discussing on Bitcoin, we're getting this 20-day moving average getting ready to cross above the 50-day moving average. In that happening, be very careful for a throwback to those moving averages. So currently, moving average, the 50-day moving average right around 95 cents, a 20-day moving average just below at 93 cents on its way up, getting ready to cross above. What I want to do is, this is an interesting move for Cardano. We're waiting for it to kind of break this previous lower high. That would be huge for Cardano. But what kind of structure, what kind of data can we use to get an idea of what to anticipate even in the coming days, this week? And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to other times, in particular, out of a pretty crucial swing low. This was the COVID swing low, where Cardano was just kind of doing another big momentum shift from bearish to bullish. And I just wanted to look at the RSI. These RSI cooling periods are very normal across crypto, meaning you're getting into an overbought territory on the daily chart. And it's like, you can't just, and usually it doesn't, just like hang out or go higher in that vicinity. It consolidates, it cools off. There are these periods of cooling off. And you can just see Cardano right here on the daily. This is all the way back in May to April 2020, just cooling off on the oscillator. All the while, what's happening here? Let's look at the chart. And let me kind of move this down so we can see. So as Cardano's cooling down, before that next burst to the upside, and here's that burst to the upside right there, it's consolidating. It's being pulled into moving averages, particularly the 20-day moving average. So if we go back to the current daily chart, which is right here, this is something we could anticipate. It could be a little bit of a stagnant time for Cardano. I would absolutely enjoy seeing a breakout to the 200-day moving average up at $1.54, closer to, up here, the 50-week moving average, $1.58. I would love to see a breakout for Cardano. Boom. But before that happens, it might need some consolidating. Maybe it's a little bit, some small higher highs and higher lows, testing $1.20 or whatever for the next few days, a week. Maybe it's actually kind of down. Either way, allowing the 20-day moving average to pull into the price of Cardano, all the while crossing the 50-day moving average. This is what we're looking for, this upward move. And we see it a lot happen in crypto. And this is what it looks like back here when it was happening then. And then Cardano bursts to the upside, and then it needs to consolidate again. Look at it. Consolidate again, right into the 20-day moving average, burst to the upside, consolidate again, and kind of that story just continues. And you see it a lot across all of crypto in terms of these coins just impressing to the upside, breaking out to the upside. We see these breakouts, these huge green daily candles, and then it's like, all right, we're going to cool off, let the oscillators cool off. And that's kind of what I'm watching for Cardano to do right now. If we go over here and we just look at the daily charts, it's a nice clean daily chart. On the RSI, here it is. RSI is kind of slightly in that overbought territory. It's not too overbought though. If you zoom out, Cardano has been way more overbought than it is right now on this daily chart, right? But needless to say, it's in that overbought territory, little consolidation. So it wouldn't be a surprise if we come down a little bit before that next burst into overbought with a price burst as well. Now, all that said and done, if we're opening up this chart, be careful to the downside as well. We continue to track the Fibonacci swing low to swing high. Right now, we have a swing high of around $1.19. We continue to track the same thing we just looked at for Bitcoin, which is these areas of just throwback to these support areas, confluent with the 618 as well over here on Cardano at the 93. The 618 is right around 93 cents. Confluent with that area is the 50-day moving average just above it at 95 cents. The 20-day moving average is literally like right there at the 618 of this throwback area. And then we have the volatile throwback 786 at around 86 cents. So 86 cents to 93 cents is that higher low Fibonacci support. And again, confluent with that are those two moving averages. So watch out for that. Be very prepared for that. What that looks like, we always have to prepare for downside. We're talking, that could be a 20 to 26, 27% dip for Cardano. We don't want to see it. We want to go back to this daily chart that we were just looking at, back here in Cardano. That was fine. Cardano just consolidated sideways and into the 20-day moving average. That would be a little bit better than just boom, a straight harsh drop for Cardano to these moving averages. Sideways would be fine as it gets pulled up into it before a continuation to the upside. That would be good to see. The best thing to see would be just tonight, overnight, Cardano continues this breakout to the upside. Remember, the 200-day moving average currently right around $1.52. And then we have these trend lines that we've been tracking right now. So above Cardano, $1.38 is a trend line that we've tracked for months, and this is the lower high trend line on the macro. To see Cardano break through would be simply awesome, but time will tell. It could take a while before that happens. But really, Cardano's not that far from doing it. If we take out our price range, check it out. Cardano, a 16% move, 17% move, and Cardano's doing it, breaking that trend line, that long-term downtrend of lower highs. I should have started with this, but 434 million total value locked on Cardano. It's just awesome to see this growth. We're going to keep tracking it. 500 million just around the corner, in my opinion. And Cardano network is absolutely exploding. Price has obviously been impressing as well. So we're going to continue to track all of these things. I appreciate all of you cruising by on this Sunday. Hope you have a great start to your week. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.